Oh, hey, I'm back on site. It is Thursday. I haven't gotten much done the rest of this week because we've had rain and I've had to do some other things this week. But today I'm going to do my best to try to take care of all the little piddly little lingering things, the blocks that are missing and stuff like that, and then tie in the double top plate for the top. And then also I'm going to put 2x12s under the foundation up and against the post. This is something I wanted to do before, but I just didn't have them. And so that's kind of how it goes. So far, I think I'm spent about $18,000 on everything that you see so far and tons more that you haven't seen. And so you can see that whole build sheet in the description, or the cost sheet in the description. And right now I wanted to show you what I bought on Tuesday. I had to drive a ways, but here's what I got. I got 900 square feet of this. It's grade 3, it's character grade or whatever, but no, it's not character grade, but it's like the grade up from that. 4-inch wide white oak, and I am pumped about that. These people bought it and they thought it was something else, and he ended up paying, well, you do the math, but fantastic find. I had to drive 2 hours to get it, but it was well worth it. So I'm pumped about that. I was going to get some other stuff today, but it just didn't work out. So sometimes it goes that way. But this right here is well worth the trip. Well, I'm really excited about this build, and the wood floor especially. That's going to be really awesome because I didn't know what I was going to use and find. It's hard to find flooring, nice flooring that's a good price. And so that was definitely a great find. But right now I'm going to set you up and time lapse some things, and we'll just see what I get done. Well, I made a mistake. I thought, hey, this is a good time to show you how to do this. So what's going on is I'm putting on the top plate. You look over there, that's where it overlaps. And the way I was taught is that you always want to overlap to give it strength and rigidity. And so I'm going to start by doing the interior walls and overlapping, and then I'll do the exterior walls and they'll overlap, and I'll show you that too. But I made a mistake here that I ran this one all the way across, and I need to actually cut it so there's kind of a notch in it, in essence, to where a board can go this way, because I want to overlap this wall right here over that. So just thought I'd show you that. I probably won't show you a ton of detail on that. There's tons of videos that show you how to do it, but in essence, it's pretty simple. You just want to overlap the joints. You want to land on the middle of a stud, or the flush with the exterior wall, or whatever the wall is. And you want to overlap things. This is the point, is to strengthen up the weak spots. Like everywhere there's a joint, you want it to overlap over it. And probably on these exterior walls, even better than I did here. This isn't great, but anyway, you're transferring load, and so there'll be studs above it. The one that really matters is that 4x4 in the middle, because it's transferring the load to the floor, and then ultimately to another pier that I have yet to pour. So well, I messed up again. Thought I'd take a break to show you what I'm doing. I made that a little too long, so I'm going to run a skill saw over it and fix it, trim it up. But here's what I got going on. See how it overlaps? It really stiffens up the whole wall structure. I've got a weird situation in there because I've got this 2x6 wet wall, but it still works pretty good. I just half-lapped some of it where it made sense. Maybe I'll show you that detail, maybe not. But there's what it was when I started. I've still got to play this whole top all the way around. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, I got all the top plating done. I've got all the blocking in, and now I'm going to work on stuff under the house, under the foundation. I don't think I could really set up a camera to show you, so I'll probably just do what I'm doing and then show you a section of it just so you get an idea of what's been done. But I'm going to do that right now, and then I'll show you what that entails. All right, so here's the situation that I ended up with. I've got these 2x12s ran next to the post, and they're extra support for the floor joist above and lateral support, that direction. So kind of accomplishing two things. 2x12s might be overkill, but since I built it this way and I could get them and I got a good deal, I just went ahead with those. It's kind of how it goes. You use what you can use. So I'm not quite done with this yet, but I think I'm going to be done for today because I didn't bring enough materials. And then I'm going to show you, I think I'm about to lay out the peak and see what I think about it. So check this out. So I'm in this bedroom, there's the stump, and I've got a double, marks kind of the center of the building there. I'm going to, I'm not so sure, when you got plans, you didn't design it yourself, it calls for a specific pitch and all that stuff. I'm going to use kind of a 2x4 and screw it up there and see what it looks like, because I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to go too steep of a roof line, but I don't want it to look like a surf shack. So I think I'll probably put up on time lapse and show you that. But I'm gonna put a board there and then one behind where I'm standing so I can figure out my line. So you saw me in the time lapse put this temp rafter up there. This is going to be my template. And I've just got it clamped on that board. That's the peak. It's 4 foot up from the top plate. I just kind of picked that number because I want to be easy to work with overhead, which it won't be once I get that big beam in there, but as easy as you can be. I've scabbed on a 1 or 2x4 1.5 inches down and set the tail of that rafter there, and then I've marked all of this on the inside so that I can see, because you're supposed to have at least 1.5 inches bearing load on the bird's mouth. These I might cut the bird's mouth and actually cut them off flush because I'm thinking about doing rafter tails. And then up there, there's a line drawn too, so I know where the ridge board is. So that's my process. So I'll take this down and cut it, and it'll become a pattern for the rest of the rafters. So I've cut it. This is my pattern board, and I've got the rafter cut right there, the ridge cut, and then the seat cut here. And normally you cut out a bird's mouth, but I'm going to go flush with the rafters and do rafter tails. And so it'll be a little bit different than your normal building. But that, if I did this right, I should be able to cut that every time on this section of the house at least, and it match up and the cuts be pretty flush and tight. Well, I put both of them up there and they fit pretty good. It looks like I'm just a touch long, and I wonder how much I should take off, because when you push it in, it kind of sucks it up anyway. Here, let me show you. There's what she'll look like. If I can zoom in. Whoop. Then the peak. See how there's just a little bit of light under it? I think if I give it maybe 1/4 inch each side, that'll make it real tight. Well, that's it for today. I got quite a bit farther than I even expected. I've got 11 rafters cut. I need some more batteries. My saw is not doing so well with the little batteries, and so I'm going to have to charge some up. I got all the blocking in. I put down some of the nails for the subfloor. I kind of have a bunch of stuff in the way here, and so I'm going to move everything top of the morning tomorrow, I hope, and finish that. I did all the stuff underneath. And I would have started raising some roof rafters, but I don't have my ridge beam. I need to go get one. I thought I had it here, but apparently not. I've got to have a 2x8 to do 2x6 rafters. So I'm going to try to get all that done tomorrow. I'm back on site. Today is Friday, and I got a whole lot done yesterday. I'm hoping I can continue that. I probably won't be able to spend as much time out here today, but my goal for today is to get these rafters. This is I don't guess there's really a primary bedroom. That's kind of language we're using these days. They're both about the same size, but it's the one I'm starting on, so we'll call it the master bedroom, the primary bedroom, whatever. So I'm going to start by figuring out the length of my ridge board and how I'm going to hold it up while I'm putting this thing together. And so I'll just put you on time lapse. You'll see me do that. I want to say this room is probably, I think it's 12, right under 12 by like right under 10. And I'm considering actually vaulting it, kind of a vault inside of well, not a vault inside of a vault, but I'm going to frame the rafters up and then use the front line of the building, which is over here, and then meet in the middle and see where that goes into just kind of it's a vault, but it won't really be structurally a vault. It will just be kind of like rafter ties or collar ties or whatever. And I'm still trying to determine if I am going to tie those off, if I'm going to do this, because in essence it's kind of the same thing, but we'll see. I'll figure it out when I get there. Maybe just some 2x4s, just something simple. So I'll set you up. You'll see me do that. All right, I want to show you what I've got done so far. I've got this peak framed, or this vault right now. It won't be a vault of everything. I'll put regular rafters over that. And then I'm going to vault the center of this. I'll show you how I'm going to do that later, but just kind of want to give you some detail on this. And that board up there, that ridge board, is probably the most satisfying board I've used to date. And the reason is because it symbolizes the dedication that I've had to something like this. I really didn't know I was going to do this 3 years ago, but I saw a couple of those boards on the side of the road that were left over from road crew. I know that because they treat them like that with oil. And I stopped and turned around and got it and thought, I don't have a use for this yet, but I'm planning something. And that, I think it was probably one of the first boards that I set aside and kind of got into this idea of just buying used stuff, cheap stuff, cool lumber, and using the best of it, whatever, any means possible to build something. It was about the time that lumber prices were getting crazy out of control, and I was still doing residential remodel work. And so that ridge board is kind of significant to me, maybe not to anybody else, but it was very satisfying to actually put a mark on that thing and cut it and lay out these rafters. But anyway, I've got some lateral supports. I'll probably add some more. I'll probably put some 2x4 rafter ties. Right now, all this framing that's under it looks kind of goofy because it's just temporary. None of that will stay there. This side is just this 2x4. And what will end up happening is I'll have the transfer of the load with that 4x4, and there'll be a 4x4 below it and another concrete pier, and then a 4x4 above that will carry that beam. There'll be a beam across this whole room here. It'll be vaulted. So anyway, that's kind of what I got going on. I took them off and I made a little beam pocket, is what you call it, and I put 2x4s on each side so I could lay it up. You probably saw in the footage, but I put one of my rafters on flat, kind of triangulating that, crossing it so I'd have a place to set the beam. These are just kind of little things you do if you're by yourself, but super excited. I've got it nailed off. Again, these are a little bit strange, but you'll see later. Some of them are a little proud. I might have to go and trim them or whatever, but turned out pretty good. I know it's hard to do this kind of stuff by yourself. I'm gonna walk back over here. My ridge board is relatively straight. It's not as straight as it could be, but I think it'll be fine. This beam will be super straight, and that'll be the bulk of it. It's got just a little bit of a jog, it seems like, toward the end of it. But I think that's within spec, and I'll hide it with metal roof and everything else. But now I'm going to set up and start on the other part of what I'm doing in the bedroom over here. So I'm going to find the center of that wall on both sides, and then put a board all the way up so I can find my center for the peak. And then I'll do kind of the same thing I did before, try to find out what my rafters could look like. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do. I'll probably overlap them and down them because that'll be easy. And then cut a bird's mouth on this side the same way where it's flush. It can't go below that plate, obviously, because of drywall. But I guess I'll just set you up on time lapse. We'll see what we can see. It'll just be me kind of scratching my head. Well, I got all that framed in. I've got the rafter ties for the most part. There's a few places where I'm going to have to wait till I take out the supports, but it really won't matter. I think what I'm going to do now is probably frame in these, what am I trying to say here? Frame in the gable walls. So I'm going to do that now. I'm not so sure how it's going to end up because the rafters are going to change the way they lay out once that beam comes into play. So I'm going to have to think about that. I might not do this one and maybe just do the north end of it there. But that's what I'm going to work on. If I get time, I'll probably block in the rafters, the ceiling joist for the bathroom in that little closet and make my crawl space entrance and all that business. So same thing, I'm going to put you on time lapse and probably from the other side, from out in the woods, work on that end wall. Well, that's all for today. I got lots of progress. I was able to frame in pretty much all I can do at this point. I've got a few little spots, but I put in the rafters. I framed the vault for the bedroom. I framed the ceiling joist above the bathroom and above the closet. I framed out this gable end. I didn't do the other one because I'm kind of scratching my head about how I can do that without having the beam. But I probably can do that one and the other one and a few other little things. But I'm getting pretty close to being at a standstill, which is fine because next week I probably won't have anything happen because I'm going to be out of town. And then the following week, we might actually be doing dirt work for electrical and septic and all that. So cross your fingers. But hey, thanks so much for watching this. Please like and subscribe.